Well, hello, rockhounds, lapidary lovers. Mike here. Welcome back to my channel. And today we're going to have another session at the Lortone Lapidary Saw. We're going to cut up some stuff. My wife has commissioned me to make something for her, and we'll talk about that in a second. But it's going to require that I have the big vertical vise in the saw. So while I've got that in there, I'm going to try cutting some other stuff that needs the big vertical vise too. So make a day of it, basically. So, got some interesting rocks here. The thing my wife has commissioned me to make is a bookend. Yes, singular, a bookend. And I think I can make it out of this nice piece of petrified wood here. So there's a little bit of a backstory to this. A while back in a previous video, I made a set of bookends out of a big boulder of banded iron. And I think they turned out pretty good. In fact, they turned out so nice, as soon as my wife saw them, she commandeered them and took them into work for use on a bookshelf in her office to hold her books up. But then she came to me a couple days later and said, "Hey, Mike, can you make me a single bookend? Because my shelf really isn't long enough for both bookends." She says, "I can put the books against the wall on one side and then just need one bookend to hold them up on the other side." And I said, and she said, I'll bring back your other bookends if you make me one to replace them." And I'm like, okay, because I kind of like those other bookends. So she said it's going to be on the right side of the shelf. So I'm thinking this piece right here will work good. This is some nice petrified wood I got at the Dobell Ranch out in Arizona, where I went collecting petrified wood. I'll put a link to that video in the upper right. Check it out. Anybody can go there and collect wood on their ranch, which is right next door to the Petrified Forest National Park. It's got the same sort of wood there, same sort of rainbow petrified wood, gorgeous stuff. But you can collect there. You can't collect at the Petrified Forest, but the Dobell people will let you collect. So yeah, check out that place if you're at all interested. So what I'm thinking about doing is, this is actually already the perfect shape for a bookend. But I think I can make it prettier if I take a cut along here and expose the wonderful innards here that we can see on the cut faces. I think that would make a really nice bookend. So we'll get this into the saw, and hopefully we can make a nice cut on it, clean up this face, and it'll be pretty. And then while we got the saw going with the big vise in it, we're going to cut some other stuff. I got another geode I picked up at a rock shop in Arizona, not far from the Dobell Ranch, actually. Cut one of these in the last video, and it turned out pretty nice on the inside, so we'll see what this one looks like. My friend Jim says these are Mexican geodes. I don't know. I didn't collect them, but Jim is an expert on all things lapidary, so I will trust his opinion on that. Speaking of Jim, Jim sent me some Sheepsbridge purple Saganite. The last time I went out to Arizona, I visited Jim, and he said I should go out there and collect. Well, it turned out it's like you know, half a day drive out there, half a day drive back, and I just didn't have the time to spend a whole day going out there to collect this stuff out in the Arizona desert. So he gave me a couple pieces, so we're going to slice this and see if we can expose any of the pretty internals on this. Let's take a few nice little slices off of it and see what Jim's Sheepsbridge purple Saganite looks like. You see a little bit of it right there on the inside. See if we can get anything that's worthy of cabbing or displaying. So we'll do that. I got some mystery jasper here I picked up on our last trip up into South Dakota, where we did our all-day rock shop crawl in South Dakota, where we spent the whole day visiting rock shops. I think I got this off their $3 table. And it's got some interesting banding in it. This might turn out really pretty if I take some thin slices off of it. So we'll try cutting into this mystery jasper. And then I've got a big chunk of petrified wood here. Now this was part of a log, a very large log that I found when I was hiking in Arizona a couple years ago. And I brought it home and I've been cutting on it. I'm very disappointed with it. I mean, the colors inside are amazing, absolutely amazing. But it's so badly fissured, it just falls apart. So basically I've been tumbling the pieces of this stuff, okay? Because I can't really get any nice slabs off of it because they just fall apart. Because you can see the fissures here, here. But what I'm going to try and do, there's an area right here that doesn't look too badly fissured. And the colors in here are amazing. We've got blue grading into yellow, into pink, into purple, into red, into blue. This is just, you know, if I could get a slab, you know, 3/16, a quarter-inch thick, that doesn't fall apart in this area, this could be cabbed and polished into something really amazing right in here. So I'm going to try another cut on this. I might just be disappointed again. The whole thing might fall to pieces, but we're going to try it. Yeah, it's not quite so pretty on this side, so we're going to try and get a slab off of this side and see, with any luck at all, we'll pray to the rock gods hard. Hopefully it will hold together. So, okay, let's get busy. And I think we'll start. My wife's always, you know, impatient. So we'll start with her project first. So let's get it in the saw and see what we can do with it. All right, I've got the rock in the saw. Getting a little smarter in my old age. I've improved the lighting over here a little bit. Moved in a little fill light so we can both see a little better what's going on in the saw. This is over kind of a dark corner. Let me get the depth of cut I want, which I don't want a huge depth of cut, but I do. This is kind of cupped in here on this side. So if I want to get a nice flat face on it, I am going to have to go in a little bit. Let's see how that does. Okay. All right. So everything's in here good and tight. Let me check here. All right. So let's close up the saw and cut. This is going to take a while. That's a big rock. Okay. So we'll wait and see what we got when it's done. All right. Let's see what we've got. Ooh, a little bit of oil mist, but hey, let's see if we cut all the way across the face. Not quite. Yeah, that hollow was deeper than I thought. Nice piece here. Wipe it off. Yeah. Well, this face isn't quite as pretty as I was hoping it would be, but what are you going to do, right? Okay, I'm going to have to cut this again. I don't want to lose too much stone. I mean, it is a pretty big piece, so I don't think I have to worry about too much about it getting too light to hold up some books, but I'm going to have to take another cut and try and get this face flat. Because, yeah, it's not quite there. Alright, so hopefully that will do it. Alright. One more cut, and we'll see what we got. Okay, the saw's gotten quiet. Let's see what we've done. Well, we got a big slice off. All right. And it looks like it's all flat on this side, so that means, yes, the face of the rock's all nice and flat. Yeah. Oh, and it's a little bit prettier than it was, too. Good, good. We've gotten into some good stuff. All right, excellent. Let me pull this out and we'll take a look at it up on the bench. All right, under the lights. Okay, so here's our two cuts. There's the first cut. The little piece came off. There are a few other little pieces that came off and they're down in the saw. Second cut, well, we got a nice piece off. And then here's the exposed face. That's a lot nicer than what we had before. So I'm thinking this is going to make a nice book end, singular, for my wife's office. Got a little area here where it looks like the rock broke off at the end of the cut and the blade skipped out. I don't know whether I'm going to fix that or not. I'll ask my wife how fancy she wants her singular bookend. I may put some felt on the bottom of this so it doesn't mar her bookshelf. And I'll probably soak this in a bucket of warm, soapy water to get the oil residue off of it first before I do anything else with it. But yeah, that turned out okay. Yeah, we exposed some really nice looking stuff here. So yeah, that turned out to be a pretty rock. It's a bad reflection. You're probably not seeing it at its best. But yeah, that's a pretty rock. Okay. All right, commission for my wife done. Next, we're going to move on to my projects. I'm going to try and get a cut off of this. and see if I can see if this part will come out whole or semi-whole. I don't know. I don't have a lot of hope, but I'm going to give it a try, and we'll see what happens. So let me get this in the saw, and we'll give it a cut. All right, so I got the rock in the saw, in the vise, to get the depth of cut I want. And try for I'm going to try for 3/16 to a quarter. I don't want it too thick. I think it'll hold together if I cut it thick, but I don't want it too thick. Maybe a little thicker than that, though. Maybe a third of a turn on the crank or so. And we'll see what that gives us. And my good section's all the way down here. I hope the whole thing doesn't just shatter before it gets there. But that's the way I had to mount it, is if I turn it the other way, it's not parallel with the blade, and I'd have to take a couple cuts. I don't want to take a couple cuts. I don't know how well it's going to hold together for one cut. All right, here we go. Here goes nothing. All right, the saw got quiet. Let's see what we've got. Some mist, let that out. And hey, we got a slab. Yeah, we got a slab. Well, maybe we got a slab. I see some cracks. Oh yeah. We got a couple pieces here is what we've got. This pretty area's got a fracture running right through it too. I don't know, man, this piece looks really delicate, like it just wants to fall apart. One piece is already falling off. Okay, let me set this aside. Gently. Take a look at the face of the rock here. Well, there's my pretty area. It's continuing on into the rock, but I'll tell you what, the fracture running right through the middle of it is getting more prominent the deeper I go in. It was hardly noticeable before. Now it's quite prominent. I don't know. More cuts. Probably just going to lead it to fall apart. Let's take a look at what we've got up on the bench and decide what to do. Yeah, I managed to get a slab out of it, but is it cabbable? I don't know. I got a feeling it's just going to fall apart on me. I mean, here's the area I'm interested in over here. I don't know if the pretty colors in there are really showing up on the camera or not. This might be the side that would show on a cab, because that fracture running through the middle of it's a lot less prominent looking on this side. So I'm thinking before I could cut a cab out of this, I'm going to have to fill that fracture with some sort of epoxy or cyanoacrylate or something. Otherwise, this thing's just going to fall apart when I try and cut the cab shape out of it. So yeah, let me get the big rock out of the saw and we'll take a look at it. Okay, here's the rest of the rock out of the saw. I don't know how well that fracture right across there is showing up on the video. I can't really see it very well on the viewfinder. It tilted a little bit, yeah. You see that crack running through there? A couple of them, actually. Three. So, yeah. So I think if I take another slab off of it, this whole area is just going to fall apart. Now, it's possible those fractures don't go in very far, because if I'm looking at this side of the rock, well, I mean, there's fractures here too, but not in this general area. So it's possible that, yeah, those fractures don't go in very far. Maybe if I take another thin slab off, the next one underneath might be better. I don't know. It's hard to say. Let me see if I can work with this, and I will just hold on to this rock for now and keep it in case I absolutely need to try and cut some more out of here. And, you know, who knows, as I go in deeper, other pretty areas might appear. But, I mean, it's just going to keep falling apart. You can see this fracture right here where this piece fell off the small one, where this piece fell off the slab I already made. And there's a fracture right here, and I can tell that this thing wants to break. I'm surprised it hasn't yet break along that fracture. So, yeah, it was an amazing find out hiking, but it's just been a nightmare to try and cut and slab. So most of the pieces are in my tumbler. They're getting pretty in the tumbler, but I was hoping to do more than just tumble them. Okay, what do we want to cut next? Well, I'm thinking it might be Sheep's Bridge Purple Saganite time. I'm thinking it might be time to see what Jim's given me over here with this thing. So let me get it in the saw, and we'll take a cut on it. Might cut it on a couple of different faces here. Maybe cut it across here, because there's clearly some crystal in there. Maybe cut it across here. Who knows? Who knows? Cut it across here. There's clearly some crystal here. So we got a couple possibilities. So let me see how I can get it in the saw. It's a very odd shape, and I'm afraid it might fracture too if I put too much pressure on it with the vise. So let me get it in, and we'll see what we can do with it. Okay, yeah, this Saganite's a very odd shape, and holding it in the vise is not easy. I've got a piece of wood wedged in here. Try and stabilize it and hold it. I don't want to tighten the clamp too much because it looks like it'll just crumble if I put too much pressure on it. I don't know, maybe it's tougher than it looks. Very possible. And once again, we have a hollow here, so I'm going to have to take a slightly different cut, deeper cut than I want to initially, just to sort of flatten this face. So take a bit of a meaty cut, even though I don't really want to take that meaty of a cut. All right, that looks like that ought to be enough of a cut. All right, tight. Okay, so we'll give it a shot and see what Sheep's Bridge Purple Saganite looks like on the inside. Alrighty, the saw got quiet. We have pieces of purple Saganite. Let's see what the face of the rock looks like. Yeah, well, that's interesting though. Okay. Okay, there's potential here. Okay. Alright, yeah. So here's the purple stuff running through here. This is just fractured, like, rind rock over here. But let me take a deeper cut and see what we got, because this looks like we're getting into something down here. Hopefully it won't fall apart. This actually looks like it's kind of pretty. Yeah. I'll give you a close-up look at this. This is really nothing, but this right here, pretty. Okay. I want to go deeper than that. Maybe just a hair deeper. Yeah, because that looked kind of shallow there. Okay. One more time. See what it looks like. So here's the pieces we cut off. This one here's just got a little corner of purple stuff, but this one here, you can see it's got a couple bands of purple running through it, and we're getting into some crystal there. So we'll see what the next cut looks like. Yeah, this could be pretty. Okay. Okay, let's see what we got this time. Well, we got a slab. Yeah, I think that's a piece of something I cut earlier. It doesn't look like Saganite. I'll have to get these pieces out of here. Clean this up. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, look at this. A nice slab here. In purple. Almost into orange there. In a couple places it looks like. Nice. Yeah. Okay. Let's look at this up on the bench and decide what we want to do. I don't know if I want to keep cutting on this face or try another face of the rock. What I'm thinking about, maybe I'll get a few pieces I can cab out of here, but what I'm thinking about is just cutting multiple faces on this rock and exposing the purple inside and just making a display piece that can sit up on a shelf or something. So let's take a look at this and think about that. So here's what we cut off so far. Flip it over. You can see the purple color is a little on the subtle side. It's not, you know, explosively purple. In places, like up here, it's very purple. Over here, it's kind of trending towards a little orangish to my eye. But yeah, we've definitely exposed some interesting crystal here. I think what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to turn the stone and we'll cut another face and see what that looks like. And we'll just keep doing that and exposing crystal in different areas and see if we can find something spectacular. If not, the whole stone might wind up spectacular once I expose crystal everywhere I can in it. So let me turn the stone and we'll do another cut. So this is a very oddly shaped rock. Hard to hold on to in the saw and difficult to decide where to cut next. So I thought while I had it out of the clamp in there, we'd talk about what I want to do next. I mean, I could keep cutting this face here, get deeper, deeper, deeper in. I think there'll be more crystal, more crystal, more crystal. That's a possibility. Another idea I had, I mean, really, this side doesn't look too promising. There might be some crystal running through here. Cutting it this way doesn't look too promising. But wait a minute, if I think about it, maybe if I put it in the saw and started taking cuts across here, we'd expose more and more crystal over time until we get solid crystal across here. We could take some thin cuts of that. So that's a possibility. I think this will sit in the saw better this way. I don't know, maybe. I'll probably still need a wood block to hold it up. I don't know. It's really irregular. It doesn't really want to sit in the saw anyway. So another possibility would be put it back kind of the way I had it, but sort of cut it on more of a bias and start. Yeah, you know what? Thinking about it that way, yeah, it would take fewer cuts to get into this central area, where hopefully there's some serious color. That would be nice. I can kind of see maybe a little color in here, the area where it's wet with oil. So yeah, maybe I'll put it back in the vise, kind of the way I had it, but twisted a few degrees this way. So we'll cut it on kind of a bias and get into more solid crystal quicker. All right, so let me try that. All right, I don't know. It's an odd piece of rock you gave me, Jim. I don't know how to cut it. I don't know. Let me get it in the saw, and unless I second guess myself, we'll just sort of cut it like this. And that should get us into more solid crystal quicker, I guess. And we'll see if there's any amazing color in there to be found. Okay, I did not second guess myself. The rock is back in the saw, almost the same orientation it was, but twisted a few degrees clockwise. So this cut should be kind of wedge shaped, thin at this end and thicker at this end, and we'll start getting into more crystal as we make more cuts. In fact, I think what I'm going to do here is I think I'm going to make this first cut a little thicker yet than I have it set for. Yeah, okay. And we'll see how that looks. I'm hoping there's more intense color deeper in. I guess we'll find out. All right, let's see what this first cut did for us. Well, I don't see a slab. Unless it fell down in. I guess it could have. We're definitely exposing more crystal. I don't think that the color is really any more spectacular than it was, but we're definitely exposing more crystal. Let me, you know what? I do see something. Let me see if I can get my hand back in here and get it. Other side of the saw blade. Can't quite reach it. I'm going to need a stick or something. The slab might have fallen down inside. So, it might have come off and gone back and down in there. I see something down there. So let me see if I can find it. Alright, so here's a piece I managed to fish out of the abyss behind the blade there. And I guess the rest of it must just be in little pieces. It must have shattered. Which, looking at the stone again, yeah, I can believe, because there's a lot of pits and holes here. So yeah, it probably shattered. So we got another little piece of the purple Saganite here. Not very purple. Not very purple. I don't know, I was hoping the color would get more intense as I went in. But that doesn't seem to be happening so far. Let me take another cut now that we've evened it up. And I guess what I'm going to have to do is put another piece of aluminum in here to keep stuff from going down behind the blade. I'll do that another day. Let's get another cut on this thing now. Let's see what that looks like. Alright. And let's go. Alright, so let's see what we got this time. Oh, we got a pile of parts is what we got. A pile of pieces. Alright. There's one big piece. Oh. Well, it's got some color in it, but it's actually trending more towards gray than purple, except in one little area. It's quite blue over here. Yeah, the color seems to be retreating down into here. This is all pretty colorless. And we got all these little pieces here. They look like they can just go in the garbage. Alright, let's take a look at this up on the bench. In fact, I think I'll pull the rock out too. We'll take another look at it on the bench and decide where to go from here with it. So here's the rock out of the saw, and I'm looking at it closely here. And yeah, the color, the purple color is fading fast. There's really not much of it left except down here in this area, and really, there's no rock there. But you know what? It's this black and white pattern, and these sort of white and tan circles up here. I guess this is the pattern that actually makes it Saganite. The purple color is kind of incidental to the fact that it's this pattern in here that makes this into Saganite. If I understand Saganite correctly. I did a little reading up on it. So yeah, so it's this kind of agate pattern down here that actually defines it as Saganite, and the fact that some of the crystal's purple, well, that's just a bonus. But boy, there's not much crystal left there. I don't know. Jim did give me another piece. It's a smaller piece. I think I'll wait until I have my smaller vise in the saw, and we'll try cutting it. So, anyway, yeah, we got a few slabs off of it. And, yeah, there's that Saganite pattern out there. This one here I think is the prettiest piece. This was probably the second piece I cut. You know, and I think a cab taken out of here would look pretty good. I mean, the purple's not knock your socks off, but it's there, and I think polished up, it would be rather pretty. So maybe rather than spend the rest of the day trying to find something good in what's left of this rock, kind of wonder what would happen if I was to cut it through there and try and expose some of this Saganite pattern. But I think rather than spend the rest of the day on this rock, we will move on and try something else. So let's get this jasper in the saw and see what thin cuts of it look like. Well, it's got some fractures in it, so it might fall apart. We shall see. But I paid a whole $3 for it, brought it home from South Dakota. Might as well cut it and see what it looks like on the inside. Okay, so there's my $3 chunk of mystery jasper in the saw. Let me get a decent depth of cut on it. Pretty good. And let's start her up. See if it was worth $3. All right, so let's see what in the wide world of sports we got going on in here. Ooh, missed. Extra credit if you know what movie that's from. Well, in spite of the little fissures I saw in it, it held together. Got kind of a neat pattern to it. Oh yeah, that is a very neat pattern. Yeah, I think I'm going to crank it in and take another cut on it, and we'll take a look at this one up on the bench while it's cutting. And see if we really like it. In fact, I might go a little thinner this time since it seems to be holding together. Maybe we can get a little bit of translucency out of it in some of these areas. We'll see. All right. Let's go. Well, I like it. I like it a lot. I think it's very pretty. Yeah, I mean, it's got some weird color patterning in here, running all through this area here. It's very cool. Very cool. And then we get into this alternating red and yellow stuff over here with some somewhat translucent crystal in there. Let me hold it up to the light and show you. There you go. See that? Yeah, even though this is not a particularly thin slab, we got some nice translucent crystal there. So, cool. Yeah, I'm really liking this. I'm liking my $3 mystery jasper. If anybody recognizes this particular pattern of jasper, if it has a name, let me know. Leave a comment. It's different. Oh, this side's even nicer. Look at the color running through here. Wow. Yeah. I calved that area. Yeah. Whoa. Well, it'd be hard to decide which side's better. You know, this area on this side or this area on this side. And heck, if you're into red and yellow, this area looks pretty good too. Okay, let's see what the next cut looks like. All right, let's have a look. Got another whole slab. Nice. Well, there is a little piece. Okay, I see a little piece now. It came off. Yeah, it slipped off the edge right there. I have to look at this up under the light. I moved my other light out of here, so it's dark over here. I'll look at this up with the light on the bench. But that looks pretty nice, especially up in this area. Yeah. I was giving this rock about a 50-50 chance of being nice, but no, it's looking pretty darn good. Let's look at it up on the bench. Decide whether I want to do any more cuts on this slab or not. Okay, so here's the first one we cut, and here's the second one. And just like it's fairly translucent. Got an interesting pattern. Oh, it's got a line of just like neon red running through here. I don't know if that's showing up. And I decided while it's in the saw, I might as well just cut another slab off since they're coming off looking good. But yeah, there's a line of like neon red here. This reminds me of, there's part of it right there too, you can see. This reminds me of a piece I cut a while back. I made a short out of cutting that piece because it had this like semicircular line of neon red in it with lots of dendrites coming off. It was very cool. So I'll put a link to that short in the upper right if you want to check that out. But wow, this is nice. Like I said, I gave this rock about a 50-50 chance of being pretty on the inside. And I was only willing to pay $3 for it, but I think I got my money's worth here. This has got some very cabbable areas on it. Very, very nice. And it's holding together. It's got a few little fractures in it, which if I hold the rock just right, I don't know if they're showing up. You can see in the reflection there's some fractures there. So it might break up when I try to cut a cab out of it. I'll have to try and do some fracture filling and hold it together. And then be very delicate with my cuts if I try to cab this stuff. But yeah, it's very pretty on the inside. This is a nice looking rock. I'm liking it. So here's our 3 cuts. 1, 2, 3. There's the third one, the newest one. Still translucent in areas, even though it's a little thicker than the other 2. Still got this line of neon red through it. Yeah, these are some nice rocks. I'm liking this stuff. So I will set this aside for cabbing sometime in the future. This is beautiful stuff right here. So basically, I guess all we've got left to do today is cut this geode. This big old geode. And hopefully it's as pretty on the inside as the last one I cut was. And of course, I never know. Never know what the best way to cut one of these things is. You know? Only I had x-ray vision or something to see what it looked like on the inside and figure out what the best line of attack would be. But I think the best way to hold it in the vise in the saw would be to cut it down this way. Because it's a little narrower this way. And it's going to be hard to hold on to and get a cut down the middle. But I might be able to hold on to it and cut more or less down the middle like this. So, but I think before I get this in the saw, I think I'm going to run the diamond saw dressing stone through there. The saw is starting to make a sound like it's not cutting all that well, and well, we've got some lines on these last few parts that I don't know if they're showing up. I don't think the saw is as sharp as it ought to be, so we'll run the dressing stone. We'll run the saw across the dressing stone, make a cut on it, and then we'll get the geode in there. So while we're cutting the dressing stone, we'll take a look at this. I had to take this out to get it in. Yeah, there's that like lightning bolt of neon red coming down through here. I hope that's showing up. I can't really tell in the viewfinder. It's amazing. I know there's reflections too, which don't help. But yeah, but the stone's getting really thin. It's going to start getting smaller in diameter, smaller across here really quick. So I decided to take it out. I'll figure out what to do with the rest of this stone. Might be cool to cut it on a few extras other sides. Maybe along here. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm going to set it aside for now. Once the dressing stone's done cutting, in goes the geode. Okay, I've got the geode in here now. Tight as I dare tighten it down. It's round, so it doesn't really want to stay in this vise too well, but I think it's going to stay. We got a good sharp blade after doing the cut on the dressing stone, so hopefully we'll get a cut through this geode without any incidents. Hopefully it'll be pretty on the inside. So let's find out. Let's get her started. It's going to take a while. That's big geode. It's done. Let's see what we got. Good, bad, or indifferent. Oh, not as pretty as the one I cut in the last video, but you don't know until you slice them open, do you? Hey, let's take a look at it up on the bench. Huh. Kind of interesting. Like I say, not as pretty, but interesting nonetheless. We'll take a look at it up on the bench. Yeah, another solid geode here. It's got some interesting banding in the quartz in the center. That's kind of nice, but I mean, around the edge, it's very bland, unfortunately. And it's very pitted out closer to the edge, so I don't think polishing these is really worth the effort. So, oh well. But hey, that's the way it goes with geodes. You don't know what you got until you cut them open, you know? It's like any woman will tell you, you got to kiss a lot of frogs to find your prince. Well, you got to cut a lot of geodes to find the really beautiful one. I did find a really pretty one in the last video I did where I cut one in half. I'll put a quick picture of that in here to show you, and a link in the upper right to that video. So anyway, I still think it's been a pretty good day at the saw. Let's review what we've done. So here's what we've done today, and I apologize, it's a little dark. It's very dark. It's going to storm, so real clouds have rolled in. But yeah, this is what we've done today. So got my wife's singular bookend done, so that'll make her happy. Cut some on Jim's purple Sheepsbridge purple Saganite. Found some purple in there, some pretty areas. I may cut on that again some more in the future. Try and bring out the Saganite more than the purple. I might try that. Get that Saganite agate banding to show up better, because I was chasing the purple, but maybe I need to be chasing the Saganite instead. Got my mystery jasper cut, and it turned out to be well worth the $3 I paid for it, probably more. It's really pretty on the inside. It's got, each of these slabs has some cabbable areas on it, so I'm very happy about that. And I still got some rock left here. We did manage to get a cut on my really fissured petrified wood that I brought back from Arizona that I found when I was hiking. The area that I want to cab did not break, although it does have a crack running through it. So I will need to do some fissure filling on that before I try to cab it. Hopefully I can actually cab it and get something really pretty out of it. That would be nice. Anyway, hey, thanks for stopping in at Mike's Lapidary and Fossils and watching this session at the saw. I hope you found it interesting, educational, inspirational, whatever. Give it a like, give it a thumbs up, and subscribe to see my future videos. And check out my other channels. I've got 2 other channels. I got links down in the video description to them. So check those out. Like and subscribe there too, if you wouldn't mind. And I'll see you in the next video. Thanks again for watching this one. Bye.